Welcome back to VLSI for All. Today we have another guest on this podcast. We have Sriti Pinjani ma'am, who has pursued her post-graduation in VLSI and embedded system. Now, ma'am is currently working with Intel as associate design engineer, and she has also worked previously with Qualcomm, Synopsys, and has an whopping 7 years of experience in VLSI industry. And currently, she is on mission to help freshers enter VLSI industry and help them get all necessary information. So first of all, ma'am, I welcome you to our YouTube channel. It's been pleasure to have you over here. And I hope this is going to be an insightful video for most of us freshers who is actually looking for heading into this VLSI industry.
Sure. Thank you, Sanket, for welcoming me to your channel. And I'm sure it will be helpful for everyone looking to make a career in VLSI.
Right. So, ma'am, this is a typical question that I ask to everyone to just get grip into. So, like, where did you did your college or like education from, and did you appear for like masters, or you just had your like whole experience through just working through industry and everything? Can you just give us a glimpse of it?
Sure. I did my BTech in electronics and telecommunication engineering. So as you can see from bachelor's itself, my background was electronics. Now the thing was, though I was interested in electronics, our on-campus was only for software industry. So I ended up in software, but since I had keen interest in electronics only, I appeared for GATE and I got admission in masters for VLSI and embedded system. And from there, I pursued my interest in VLSI.
Okay, great. So like actually freshers can still relate with it because the situation is currently the same, that most of the like C tier or B tier colleges actually have the same situation. Like they get on campus mostly to IT or CS, especially for like electronics EC branches. Like they have the curriculum of both like software part as well as core electronics. So that's a great thing. So like you started your career with working for Tech Mahindra, and in your initial days, like and everything was set. So like you were already working into a CS related domain. So why did you actually thought of going for masters, like again preparing for GATE and appearing like going studying again? So like is it because you're keen interest into electronics or something else?
Okay, sure. This is a very good question. Now, as I said, first of all, my background was electronics. Okay, so there are multiple reasons. So let me tell you first reason. First thing is my background was electronics, and I really had keen interest in electronics. So that was one of the reason I decided to pursue GATE. The second reason was since did not have any CS background, I did not know Java and object-oriented programming a lot. Though I learned it in training, which was again a good experience because we use OOPS in VLSI also. So I would say that was a good experience for me. But still, somewhere when I was in software, I felt that whatever I learned in electronics, and I also had keen interest in digital electronics, so I was not able to apply that knowledge to my work. So that was something which I was really missing in my work. I would say every day I used to think that I learned something in electronics, and is there a job where I can actually apply these concepts, especially digital electronics, which I had keen interest in. And there was no scope in software to apply those concepts. So that was the second reason of switch. The third reason was, if you see VLSI, okay, now it is a completely different kind of domain. We are people who design chips on which the software runs. Okay, now if you want to know one of third main reason why I chose VLSI, so the thing is depends on complexity of chip. For example, I'm working on server chip today, so it will come in market after 2 to 3 years. So you can say people who are working in VLSI are 3 years in advance of whatever will be the future technology.
Nice.
So that was another thing which interested me. So these were three main reasons I decided to pursue masters in VLSI.
Yeah, that's great actually. A little bit of insight that you provided us in a different perspective. Also, like like you told about like learning OOPS concept, and you are not actually familiar with this CS related domains. So I think that like 3 or 2 years of experience at Tech Mahindra as software engineer really like played into shaping what you are today. Great. So like again, like mostly people tends to just climb up when they join an IT industry, just like for example SD1 or SD2. So like, do you think if in like in some circumstances you would not have opted for masters or entering VLSI domain, where would you have been standing right now? Like, do you think you would be keen in just pursuing this hierarchy ladder?
Truly speaking, I would not be in software industry still. If
Mm,
I would have not done masters in VLSI, maybe I would have chosen to become a professor in electronics or do some PhD in electronics and pursue my interest from there. That would be something I would have chosen, or maybe I would have gone to management side. But it actually depends on your own interest. I actually don't have so much interest in software as much as I have in VLSI or electronic domain. So that's why I would have still not chosen to climb up that software ladder.
right, right. That's great. So let's dig deep into this VLSI career, VLSI as a career, ma'am. So like, what are the various domains in VLSI as per your knowledge, or means in general, in which a fresher can just start his career?
Sure. So let me give you now this question also I would divide into different things. First, I will explain what are the different domains. Then I will also explain how much is the scope for each domain and
Mm,
how will be the work pressure. So
mm,
that all these three things will help the freshers. Now, VLSI domain can be broadly divided into two categories. First is called as front end, and second is called as back end.
okay.
So, the different job roles which come in front end will be design, architecture, and verification. These will be the three main job roles.
Mm,
So as you can see in front end, there will be mostly coding, but it will be HDL, which is hardware description language. And
mm,
then in verification also, we use system verilog, which is again a hardware description language. And there is a methodology which is called as UVM,
you-
Universal Verification Methodology. Okay, so in front end, you are mostly into the coding. That's the front end. And in back end, you actually start designing the circuit, the hardware. So the synthesis forms a part of it. Then fabrication, actual fabrication process, physical design, these are all part of back end.
Okay.
Okay, so
Mm,
broadly, these are two main categories, front end
mm,
and back
and
end.
backend,
So
right.
front end is mostly software based, and in back end, you actually start designing the hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's come to the second point. How much is the job scope in both
Mm,
these front end as well as back end? So, in front end, the job scope is more in the verification.
mm,
Again, in verification, there are different things. There can be SOC verification, which is system on chip verification. There
mm,
is ASIC verification, which is application specific
mm,
integrated circuit. There is subsystem, there is IP, there is CPU.
mm,
Okay, so all of these require similar skill sets. You need to have the knowledge of computer architecture, Verilog, system Verilog, UVM, and design also uses similar concepts. Just in design, you don't require UVM. Okay,
mm,
so this is the front end. The job scope is highest in verification.
mm,
So mostly, if you try to search jobs in VLSI, you will find a lot of job openings in verification.
verification, right.
Okay. And if you ask me what is the ratio of job scope compared to design and verification, so the usual number which they give in industry is for every designer, you have around three
Five,
verification
okay, three.
engineers.
Fine.
Yeah, at least
Mm,
three to
mm,
five. It may vary depending on
mm,
complexity, but that is the job scope. If you are hiring one designer, you have to hire three verification engineers for that minimum. Okay,
right,
so
right.
definitely the job scope is more in VLSI. And architect, that is definitely a position for someone who is experienced in industry. Okay, now when it comes to backend,
Mm,
okay, so backend also has job scope, but it is little less compared to the front end. The job roles available in backend A little less. The reason is, I think most of it is done through tool, and very few people are required for that. Okay, you just need to do some Python coding or something, but physical design engineers will be able to give a better answer. But this is what I think. So
Okay.
the job scope is still there in physical design and layout synthesis, but it is very less compared to front end. Like if I see 10 openings in verification, I will be able to see only one opening in physical design or one opening in layout. So that is the ratio. Okay. So now depending on your interest, if you are more interested in coding, then you should go to this front end. And if you are more interested in back end, designing the circuits, layout, synthesis, and you don't like coding so much, you can go there. But still there, little bit scripting will be
Yes.
used. You
Right.
can't avoid coding altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So these are the job scope. Now, depends on how is the pressure, how is the industry pressure in both these domains. So, what is the usual thing in verification? The pressure is distributed throughout the project cycle. Like throughout the project cycle, you will have similar amount of work which is manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For designers also. So, what happens? Designers start working before verification engineers. And once the design it's not like design is completely ready, only then we will verify. They give some features, we start verifying, then they release some more features, we start verifying, because the time to market is very less, so we can't waste so much time. So they keep on releasing features, we keep on verifying. And the pressure for physical design engineers, what I heard from my friend is, sometimes it is a lot and sometimes they don't have work at all.
Okay.
So so that's what I have heard. Like 3-4 months is very hectic for them, and maybe remaining months they don't have so much work. So the pressure distribution is not even in physical design. That's what I have heard from my friends. So these are like different uh, things which I can tell you about.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great explanation, and I think this is going to like give a lot of freshers like more visibility into which domain their keen interest lies into. Like for example, mostly electrical and electronics student, I heard this complaint like they don't like coding, but they still want a good package job or something. Of course, for them, PD can be a suitable role. Otherwise, there are on the other side, there are some students who like coding but doesn't want to do coding just for like making softwares. They want to have that digital electronic as their base, and yeah, for them design and verification roles could be better. That's right. So ma'am, still like ma'am, comparing to software engineers, do you think like that amount of coding is required for verification and design roles also?
Actually, for us, thing is we do coding only, but you don't do pure coding. It's not pure software, as they
Hmm.
call hardware description language. So,
Hmm.
first thing which anyone has to do, even before starting the coding, is understand your hardware. What are you going to make? What
Hmm.
chip you are going to make? For example, you are going to make server chip. Okay,
Hmm.
this is server chip. Then how many processors does it have? And then
Hmm.
what protocol it uses. For example, it uses PCI. Okay, what version of PCI? What are the features? If it is a legacy chip, then what are the add-ons you are having? Why you are having those add-ons? So you do software, but not as much as them, because you need
Hmm.
hardware knowledge also. It's
Right.
like software hardware combination.
Combination, right? Like there are also certain sets of like knowledge that even software engineers need to have in these current scenarios, like DSA, data structure, algorithms,
Yeah.
maybe operating system. The same goes
Hmm.
for us that not only coding, but we need to have knowledge of maybe like
Hardware.
hardwares, how that
Correct.
works and everything, right?
Correct. Yes.
So like ma'am, like there are like you told there are two main like fields even between them like ASIC and SOC. So like among them, which field is do you think is on rise now, and what is the difference between both ASIC and SOC?
Sure, I liked your question. So first, let me tell you what are these ASIC, and there is also IP, there is subsystem, and there is SOC. So
Okay.
let me tell you what it is. So IP, as it the name says, it's an intellectual property. Say for example, someone is building a particular chip, a particular processor, say for mobile, some Snapdragon. Now that is their intellectual property. Qualcomm has built Snapdragon. That's its intellectual property. It has built that particular core. Now, say for example, someone wants to make a mobile chip and they want to use their Snapdragon processor core, and on top of that, they want to build something. So they need license that IP, intellectual property, from Qualcomm. Okay, so that is the IP level of verification. It means you are verifying a particular intellectual property for a particular company, which can also be licensed or brought about to by other companies to make their own hardware. That is the intellectual property. Now, what is ASIC? ASIC is application specific integrated circuit. It means it is designed only for a particular application and it can't be used for any other application. One example will be chips that are made for the smartwatches. Those particular chips can be only used in smartwatch. It can't be used for anything else. Okay, so that chip will be application specific integrated circuit. It will have only particular limited number of features. The advantage is ASIC is easy to verify. The time required to verify and design is very less. So if you are sure you only need these many applications, why to end up in so complex SOC and all? Just create those many features and you can have your chip. That is the advantage of ASIC. Now, what is subsystem? Subsystem is basically a combination of IP. Say, for example, I want to use Qualcomm ka Snapdragon processor. I want to buy some memory, say from NVIDIA. I will license some memory from NVIDIA, some processor from Qualcomm, something from someone. I'll combine it together and I will build a subsystem. Right. Okay, so that can be a subsystem. Okay, now what is SOC? SOC is system on chip. It means it's a very complex system. It's not simple. It's very complex. One example is server chip. It is called a system on chip. Reason is it has a lot of processors. Say for one processor chip can have hundreds of cores, and that also it's not. You can't say that all the cores are same. It can have heterogeneous cores. Some cores will be this, some cores will be that, some cores will be this. Then it has different types of memories. It has a lot of different types of protocols. So what these SOC engineers do, they just integrate all of these together and they build a system on chip. So that is system on chip verification. Now, if you ask me the scope of which type of verification is highest, it is SOC verification, system on chip. Because mostly nowadays, nobody designs IPs from scratch. Few companies do who have their own IP, but mostly what companies do, they buy IPs from others and they integrate it together in the form of system on chip. So that's why system on chip is on rise now, and that's the domain which has most scope in verification. Okay, nice. Also, like I think these roles for SOCs are more into like companies like Intel, Apple, these processor making companies. So like I was just curious, like what is the chip used in iPhones and mobiles? Is it microcontroller? It comes in the microprocessor, or that is what it is called SOC? It's system on chip. Yeah, right. And ma'am, what is the best way to enter VLSI industry? Yeah, that's a good question. Now, see, depends on at what level you are. Are you in BE, or you are in masters, or you are pass out, or you are in some domain? So let me cover all of these. Say, for example, you are in BE or BTech. So first thing I will recommend, if you are really want to enter VLSI industry, choose electronics and telecommunication. The reason is you will need the digital electronic concepts. So it's better to choose the BTech in electronics branch because you will need all those concepts, MUXes and everything. Okay, so please, so please choose electronics and telecommunication branch. That will be one recommendation. And if you are aiming for masters and you are sure you want to enter VLSI only, so there is a separate masters dedicated to VLSI. Do masters in VLSI only. Okay. That is second recommendation. Now third, say for example you are pass out and you are looking for a job. Okay, now the best way to enter is directly if you aim for a topmost company, say Qualcomm, Intel, it's a good aim, but don't get discouraged if you don't get it. The main important thing is enter the domain, get 2 to 3 years of experience, and then you can later on switch. So one good way is try service-based companies. There are a lot of service-based companies. There is Eximius, there is Cerium, there is Sankalp, there are many. So try to enter through service-based companies. That is one good way. The second good way is try to do internship. If you are not getting full-time job, apply for internships. There are a lot of internship openings. If you have 1 year internship experience and you perform good in same company, there are good chances of getting full-time. Even if you don't get in that company, through your internship experience, it's very easy to switch to other company compared to without experience. Now, the third thing is, say for example, you are in computer science, you have some years of experience in computer science or something, and now you want to switch to VLSI. So first thing which I also face, it's little bit difficult to change the domain. If you want to change within 2 years. Don't wait for more than 2 years. If you are not able to change within 2 years, then I would recommend do masters or do some 6 months course in VLSI. For example, you are interested in verification, do some course in verification 6 months and then apply for a full-time job or do masters. So these are some good ways. And again, any way you choose, you have to acquire the skills, whatever is required for that particular domain. That you have to do self-study. The reason is there are not a lot of good YouTube channels available for VLSI. There are for like software engineers. So a lot of you have to do self-study only.
I agree. I totally agree about that. So, ma'am, like you told about how to move into VLSI industry, but can also you give us more brief about what are the skill sets required for maybe for interview or maybe that is required by industry?
Sure. Okay. So since I'm in front end, I will tell you more about front end domain. So in front end, the first thing which you require is digital electronic concepts. If you are entering the digital domain. Okay, some people who have keen interest in analog can also enter the analog domain. So they need to have a clear idea of analog concepts. Okay, so digital or analog electronics, depending on your domain, that you should know. The second thing which you should know is Verilog. Even for analog, there is a version called as A Verilog or something, so that you should know. Okay. And then the third skill set is System Verilog. Now, System Verilog is the advanced version of Verilog only. So it uses some advanced concepts like OOPS concepts and some concepts which are not available in Verilog. So then you need to have that knowledge of System Verilog. This much, and then you need to have the knowledge of computer architecture. Okay. Because that will be used in lot. You also need to have some knowledge of pipelining concepts. There is a parallel pipelining going on inside your processors. So you need to understand how that parallel pipelining works, what are the different kind of things which can arise in pipelining and how to resolve them. So that you should know. And another thing, it's a good to have a knowledge of memory, especially cache memories, how caches work and what are the different algorithms of cache, how to use your memories efficiently. So all those things, what are the differences between different memories? There are different, even in cache, there are different memories. There can be L1 cache, L2 cache, L3 cache. So it's good to have a knowledge of that. Okay, so this much is good enough for design. For verification, the extra skill set you will require is UVM, Universal Verification Methodology.
Got it. And ma'am, like you had done your graduation and also masters from in EC. So like do you think actually our system, like education system, actually have this curriculum in there to make you industry ready just after BTech? Or like talking about like you told about computer architect, maybe memory and everything. Like also these are not very much available over the internet as much as there are plenty of resources for CS and IT guys. So like what could be like best or some preparation material for um, maybe for interview or for having these skills into us?
Okay, so when I was preparing for myself, I use certain websites. Now, these are specifically for verification.
Hmm.
So they have good tutorials not in the form of video, but they have written tutorials.
Hmm.
So one of the website which I used to use during my days was testbench.in.
Hmm.
It has a lot of good system verilog, oops concepts and everything. And there is other site called as ASIC World.
Hmm.
Like this, there are there is verification excellence, there is verification academy also, I think. So
Hmm.
they have a lot of written tutorials and blogs, so at least you can clarify your concepts. And then there are certain books which you can refer, like for system verilog, Chris Clear is one of my favorite books.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the book which I have referred.
Hmm.
And for verilog and system verilog, like there is a language reference manual, we call it as LRM. So
Yeah.
that is like Bible for verification engineers. So you can find everything in that. It's a very exhaustive. You don't need to know in depth, but that is like if you are not getting answer anywhere, you can go and refer LRM. You will find the answer. So system Verilog LRM and Verilog LRM, I think PDF can be easily downloaded online. And even the computer architecture concepts, I think I won't say you will get video lectures very good,
Hmm.
but at least written tutorials you can find for these also, computer architecture concepts, even digital electronics, written
Hmm.
tutorials you can find.
Great tips. Also, uh, if someone is not able to just do this on their own, that is what we are here for, VLSI for all. Just for audience to
Yeah.
let them know, like if you are like after you, of course you might have got inspired by ma'am's words, and if you are little bit interested about like moving towards this VLSI industry and career, then yeah, this channel VLSI for all also provides the same, just in that compressed form. Yeah, so like, ma'am, what could be the other like interview tips one should be prepared with?
That's a good question. Now, see, first thing I will say for a fresher, uh, even to get the interview call, your resume should be shortlisted.
Mm.
Now, I have seen a lot of freshers who prepare 3 to 4 page resume. Even I am an experienced person, I just have 1 page resume. So
Okay.
one suggestion which I want to give all of you is please have a crisp resume. Even in 1 page resume, you can fit all the useful information. So what is the information which I consider useful is, I want to know what skill sets you have. For example,
Mm.
you are applying for verification job.
Mm.
So have a skills section in your
Mm.
this in your resume and divide it. For example, there are particular skills which are related to electronics. So you can have a section of electronics. In that, you can write computer architecture, digital electronics, and memory in-depth knowledge. I'm just giving you example.
Mm.
Then no scripting, that's called as add-on knowledge. So you can write add-on or scripting languages known. Say for example, you know Python, Perl.
Mm.
That can be one section. Then verification specific, what you know. You know UVM. UVM also, say you know different version. You know UVM 1 also, you know UVM 2 also, you also know OVM. So
Mm.
that you can put in verification. Now, design concepts, what you know Verilog, you know system Verilog,
Mm.
HDL languages. So
Mm.
that one section. So one section create of skills, and that should be at the top of your resume so that people know. Okay. Now, second thing, say for example, you have done a master's in VLSI, or you have done some course, 6 months course in VLSI. So
Mm.
that is also one advantage. I should know that. So that should also be clearly visible in the first page of your resume. In case you are
Mm.
having, don't exceed 2 pages at least, but even in case you are having 2 page resume, this information should come at the first page of your resume. And your projects, since if you are a fresher, you need to do some projects which are specific to VLSI. So say for example, you have done 2 or 3 projects. Those projects should also come in the first page and have a crisp description. I should know what languages you used in your project, what is some additional thing which you did on your project, And what was your project based on? Whether it was based on memories, it was based on some algorithm, some CPU, or what was it based on? You use system verilog, you use UVM, what did you use? You improve the algorithm, or you used optimization technique, what is that some advantage thing you use? So all these three things should be clearly visible in each of your projects. Okay, so present your resume in such a way that recruiter needs to find you capable of doing a particular job, and you should be one of their favorable candidates so that you can get an interview call. Now, once you get an interview call, I already told you what are the skill sets required. Now, one advantage for the fresher is most of the questions are fixed, what they will ask. So you easily find interview questions in whatever sites also I said, testbench.in. You go, you will find system verilog interview question. You will find UVM interview question. So you can easily find, there will be some 100 some 100 system verilog questions which are common, some maybe 50, 60 UVM questions which are common. So try to have a clear concept of all those questions. And sometimes they ask aptitude question also. So the thing is, they are not looking for an exact answer. Even if you don't reach the exact answer, they just try to see your approach towards the solution. So just try to approach towards the solution. Even if you don't solve it, it's fine. So they want to see your attitude towards the problem. So these are few tips from my side.
Yeah, amazing tips, man. Yeah, and also like these were some questions that may be a fresher may be interested in knowing, but I have some more sets of questions that I'm interested to know about you. Like, ma'am, you actually have like worked with all of the top MNCs that we look in, like the semiconductor industry, let it be Qualcomm or Intel. So, ma'am, throughout the 7 years of experience, which company do like it's unfair to answer, but which company do you find most interesting to work with?
See, now actually, this is a question which might change from individual to individual.
Mhm.
You can't get everything in one job. Like if you are saying that I want a very high salary, I
Mhm.
want work life balance, I want very good, amazing work, I want an amazing team, and I want to work on cutting edge technology, you can't get everything.
Right.
So it depends on person to person what you want.
Mhm.
So if you want little bit more work life balance, and you are okay with little bit less pay, and you are means you want to also try to switch domains. Sometimes you
Mhm.
want to work on SoC, you want to work in subsystem, sometimes you want to work in ASIC. So you also want to change different domains. So my current company, I find it very beneficial because it is very easy to
Mhm.
try to switch domains here. If I want to sometimes work on SoC and I express my interest in subsystem, and if some work comes up in subsystem, I am able to get that work.
Right, right.
And I am also able to maintain my work-life balance here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, pay might be little bit compromised, but that is okay for me. So
Yeah.
as I said, it actually depends on person to person, whatever suits you best. For me, the work culture is also very important thing. I find the work culture very good here.
Mhm.
And another good thing which I find about Intel is it's not just about work. We
Mhm.
also practice a lot of values at Intel, like
Mhm.
we preach about empathy, and
Yeah.
how you should have empathy towards your colleagues. That is also very important. How not to be a boss, but be a leader. How to be a good team player.
Mhm.
So all these things also play a very important role. So these are like some values which help us motivate and feel involved as a part of organization. This is one thing which I really like about it.
Yeah, yeah. I also agree with you because like when I interviewed actually some freshers, maybe having 5 years of experience or 10 years of experience, they like to like hustle in their initial career with some maybe higher like product-based companies like Qualcomm or maybe in service-based companies. But when they like tends to age towards 30 or 40, they are looking for some stable and less hassle, having a great work-life balance job. And Intel is the one they are actually seeking for in that age group. Yeah, so that just confirms the thing. So like ma'am, also I see that Intel, like I don't know, like does that Intel have their own Toastmaster club, or like you
Yeah,
started or
it's
something
true.
like that? Yeah.
No, I didn't start. Luckily, they have their own
Okay.
Toastmasters club. So, as I said, Intel also does a lot of extracurricular things which actually make you a good individual. So,
Hmm.
they have and they encourage employees to join Toastmasters, which is a
Hmm.
public speaking and leadership organization.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
they have a club within their own company. It's a corporate club.
Hmm.
And I have seen a lot of managers and leaders also motivate their employees to join Toastmasters. So that is also one good thing.
It's not a general statement, but according to my observation, like not much of women are actually interested towards this hardware domain, or maybe looking for to move into the semiconductor industry. So like, what's your take on this? Or is there something that you want to like tell to them?
Yeah, one thing which I want to tell to them is the reason why most of people don't try to go to VLSI is maybe there is not much education about VLSI. People
Hmm.
don't know such domain exists because
Hmm.
many people, if I tell VLSI, they don't understand what is. And even if they know what it is, they don't know what is the scope and how to enter it.
Hmm.
So one main reason is there is lack of awareness about VLSI.
Hmm.
This is one thing. And second thing, maybe I'm not sure why women prefer software. Maybe they feel it is easy
Hmm.
to sustain in software compared to VLSI. Maybe that's the perception, but I am not sure.
Hmm.
So what I would tell them is it's easy to sustain anywhere where you have interest. So if you have a keen interest in VLSI, you will be able to sustain here also.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
third reason which I feel why people don't try to enter VLSI is
Hmm.
maybe they feel the pay is here not up to the mark compared to software industry.
Hmm.
So one thing which I want to tell everyone is you consider the software industry is highly paid, but the truth is only few companies pay very well in
Hmm.
software.
Right.
Like Google pays good, Meta pays good, Amazon, Microsoft. So there are very few top players who pay very good.
Hmm.
Similarly, in VLSI industry, there are few top players who really pay you very good. And
Right.
another reason which I will tell you is you should enter VLSI industry. Why I motivate people is, um, see now a lot of things are going to get automated in
Hmm.
software. You
Hmm.
can already see people are moving to data science and AI, and a lot of things now we see even the web page design happens through some softwares, and it's very easy. There are drag and drop buttons. It's not
Right.
even complicated.
Hmm.
So maybe a lot of software coding also will happen now through AI and data science. So
Hmm.
maybe data science will be one domain which will take over. Okay. Now, VLSI, why this industry cannot die forever is,
Hmm.
first thing is it is very complex process. Okay,
Hmm.
so it is very difficult to automate. It definitely requires human intervention.
Right.
And even if you try to automate it, okay, someone needs to make those AI chips. Now, don't tell me that you will
Hmm.
go to that advanced level that AI can design AI chips. Maybe you can go, but it will take some time, at least
Hmm.
15, 20 years, I assume, because AI is also still in a new baby state, I will say. It's still
Hmm.
not advanced. So, to advance AI itself, it will take 10 plus years, at least a decade.
Hmm.
And to build a AI chip using AI, even if it's possible, I'm not sure when that process will be perfect,
Hmm.
and even if it becomes perfect, it will take few more decades. So
Right.
definitely in your lifetime of career, VLSI is going to be a good option. And the reason why you will still have a job security here is because there are very few skilled engineers available in VLSI. And
Hmm.
right now there is a lot of resource crunch of good resources. So
Right.
I think this is going to increase because VLSI demand will increase in future.
Yeah, yeah, right. Also, I think this is the right time to for someone to start, because also India is now getting more aware into this field. Recently, there was like sanction of 76,000 crore for just planting that semiconductor industry in India. So that's a great time for someone to crack into this. Uh, yeah. So, ma'am, lastly, just tell us about what do you do on your blog and your YouTube channel that is Dare to Dream.
Okay, so actually, Dare to Dream, this channel I started when I entered into Toastmasters. It's a public speaking
Yeah,
organization.
yeah.
So, when I entered Toastmasters, I was not a good speaker. I would consider myself an introvert that time. I didn't have too many friends, I didn't have too much network. But once I joined Toastmasters, I understood the
Hmm.
importance of public speaking and networking. And
Hmm.
the reason I started that channel is there, if you see, there will be some of my recorded speeches.
Hmm.
So when I upload those speeches and I listen to them, sometimes when I am in a low mood, I try to listen to some of my
Hmm.
speeches which I considered best, and then it gives me self motivation. So I believe that instead of depending on external factors for motivation, you should
Hmm.
derive self motivation, motivate your own self.
Right.
So those are some things which give me self motivation. So that's why I created that. So that will just have mostly my speeches or some random videos.
Hmm.
And another thing, what I wanted to try to do in my blog, I opened one blog for VLSI. Right now,
Hmm.
it doesn't have many posts, but I want to start posting actively. So I want to bridge this gap. Like there are a lot of resources available for software to clarify your concept.
Hmm.
But for people in VLSI industry, they struggle to find a good place to clarify all their concepts. So what is my agenda is people find a lot of things very complex to understand in VLSI.
Hmm.
So I want to try to make everyone understand those concepts in an easy language with the help of examples.
Hmm.
So that is my agenda. I want to help people understand VLSI concepts easily. That is my current agenda.
Okay, okay. That's great. I'm sure every start of everything great starts from just a little dream or efforts. I am sure that you will reach that level one day. Okay,
Thanks.
ma'am. So like we would be heading towards the end of this session. But before that, is there any final advice that you would like to give to the audience? It may be any like advice related to career or maybe a general one.
Sure. So, one advice which I would like to give to anyone is I found my passion in VLSI,
Mm.
but I feel a lot of us don't find our passion even towards the end of life. So, this is something which you will hold regrets for your lifetime. Don't just run behind one place which you find easy to go and which pays you hard.
Mm.
Like, more important thing is what you are passionate about,
Mm.
because if you don't have a purpose right now, I find my purpose in VLSI industry. I feel I was born to be in VLSI industry.
Mm.
So try to find your passion. It can be anything. You might be interested in management, you might be interested in some maybe music or some artistic work. Whatever is your interest,
Mm.
whatever it is, you can reach the highest level in that, and money is no bound. As they say, you just do whatever you are passionate about, money will come to you. So don't just worry about money, do what you love and explore, because I found my passion after exploring. I entered software, then I understood, okay, no, I want to do something in electronics. Then slowly I understood in electronics also I wanted to do VLSI, and VLSI also I was more interested in verification. So like this, explore a bit, and whatever you are interested in, you go.
Mm.
And say for example, you enter a specific domain, say you enter marketing, and after 1 year you feel it's not the domain for you, please switch within 2 years. Don't waste more time, because if you waste more time, it will be difficult to switch. Don't fear about changing domains, just do what you like. That would be my advice to everyone.
Yeah, means spend your time exploring, and when you find that passion, don't just let it go behind because of some pay or money, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, ma'am, that was a great advice. And I thank you once again for being present on this particular podcast. And I'm sure that by this particular episode, many of like freshers would be having a more clarity about where they should make their career towards. So thank you again, and all the best for your career ahead.
Thanks a lot, Sanket.